Hey, you ever been to Chancellor Park? That's where I live. My name is Tavin Dillard, and I live in a trailer park called Chancellor Park, and I mow lawns. I'd like to introduce you to my town. I've been making YouTube videos since about 2006, and then I've transitioned over to other platforms like the TikToks and the whatnot. But here on this podcast, I'd like to clue you into what's going on with me here lately. And this is like the pre-introduction. Now I'm going to send it off to myself for the real introduction. I'm glad you joined me. Bank, bank.
Welcome to the Tavin Dillard podcast, y'all guys. We's in the season 3's episode 10s. My name is Tavin Dillard. I'm old lawns, live in Chancellor Park, and I'm glad you joined me this week of the podcast. It's like a radio show because it's for your ears, so you ain't looking at nothing but you listening. That's the truth. That's how that go. And you know, and maybe you don't, but it's been a busy week. There's been a lot going on. There's a lot to cover today, but just like housekeeping, there's some stuff. Last week I mentioned that I posted up the bacon artwork is on a piece of driftwood. I put that on the eBays for 3 days. Well, folks bid on that thing, and it shipped out to Wyoming. I think it's where it ended up. So thank y'all for that. Now, I don't do driftwood artwork often, or I don't put eBay auctions up. I think last year, that was the 2021s, I did, I'm going to say 4 auctions on the eBays. Because I ain't a, artist. That ain't what I'm trying to do, with everything. It's like every now and again, you wing one out there to do that. Like, I got other stuff. Truth be told, most of my artwork, a good hefty portion of it, end up on the t-shirts. Now, that link's in my show notes there to check out my shirts. Now, sometimes, if you watch my videos, now this ain't a video, you listen to a podcast, it's for your ears, but if you watch my videos on the interwebs, you'll see that I just hang up my artwork, in my trailer, and there's let me think, there's one piece of artwork on the wall at the burger shed down there that Bud, it's like he got the original right now. Now, I don't know if I'm going to take it back one day or just leave it up, but that's a raccoon and a pheasant wrestling. And the pheasant got that raccoon locked up in a ground game, and the raccoon's holding a candy bar, like he took that, like that. I think that's what started the fight. But then I got the shirt that's like kind of the 4th of July patriotic shirt that I have, which is a stick of bacon or a piece of bacon. I never called it a stick of bacon before, but I guess because he's running and it looks like he's, a little stick man, but it's a piece of bacon wearing jean shorts, them cut off jean shorts, holding a sparkler and catching a frisbee, and it says freedom at the bottom of that. Now, that drawing that I do on a piece of like copy paper with a Sharpie marker, that's still in my trailer. Like, I never went and put that on the eBays and auctioned it off. But the drawing itself is on the shirt. That's like that how it go. That's how that go. But then the one that I did auction off first, at least, it was the first eBay auction I ever did, was the fully mature peacock with the squirrel in the headlock. And how that go is I drawed that on copy paper with a Sharpie. That's basically my medium. You know how artists, hey, what do? You do acrylic on canvas, you do watercolor, you work with clay, pottery, kind of thing. No. I do a piece of typing paper or copy paper and a Sharpie marker, and I boop, I get to work. And I'm a lefty, so you can imagine what my hand looked like. If you're a lefty, you drag your hand across that paper your whole life. Pencils, pen, don't matter, and you end up with that fat part of the back of your hand by your pinky just covering that stuff. But hey, that's the life of the artist, I guess. So the way that go, though, just a backstory, if you just joining us, first of all, welcome. There's been a big influx, like it got bigger, the audience on the Instagrams in the last, I guess 2-3 weeks now. And I appreciate you. I know some of y'all listening, that's how you found me. So welcome. But it was last year, early sometime, maybe a year and a half ago or something anyhow, 2 years. Myron Curtis, anyway, he had a birthday. And he was asking me to guess what in the world he got for his birthday. Now, I'm a full-grown man. Y'all guys, you know that. I'm a full-grown man, and I don't go guessing my other buddy's birthday present. It's like, just tell me, buddy. He's like, no, you got to guess, and I guessed, I can't remember everything. I said, like, a tetherball in a backpack, and he's kind of mad because, like, why would he get that? But I'm thinking, why would you have me guess? So that's what I guessed. He's like, no. And then I said, you got a portrait of a squirrel in a headlock from a peacock, like a peacock got, and he's like, no. Well, then folks said, why don't you draw that picture? So I drawed it. I drawed a fully mature peacock, and then he locked up this squirrel in a headlock. With his little feathers, he ain't even got thumbs, and so the squirrel's just embarrassed. I mean, he can't get no more embarrassed because he can run away from people all day long in parks and the backyards and just get at your garden and all kind of thing and drive you crazy, and you can't catch him, and he kind of giggle at you. But how in the world did a fully mature peacock with no thumbs, not a thumb on the peacock, lock this guy up? So that squirrel's embarrassed. The peacock's just proud. And then I ended up writing a book about it last year. Did a Kickstarter campaign last summer, and I got the fully mature peacock. You know, how did it happen? Like the story behind it. And that's a little book I have. And I'm going to have those. They on the website if you go to tavindillard.com and check out the shop. But I'm bringing them to the shows, which leads me to the next thing, which ain't even, like, this is the pre podcast today, y'all guys. I hope you got a long walk today or a big old meal that you making while you listening so you can get this done. But it's about to be my live shows. I'm doing live, stand-up comedy shows kind of thing where I stand up. Because then it wouldn't be stand-up if I sat down. But I'm going to be, doing my thing, telling stories, hanging out with y'all guys, giving high fives afterwards. Dims are free. And the shows, anyhow, July 7th is Crave Hot Dog and Barbecue. And I'll put the link to the July shows in the show notes today, too. But there's that going on July 7th. In Yukon, Oklahoma, and then Newkirk, Oklahoma at the K County Amphitheater. That's July 8th. Now, July 9th, that's what I want to spend a minute on. That's Conway, Arkansas. Now, this venue, the Max Event venue, they do like, events there. I mean, that's probably why they call it the Max Event venue. But anyhow, this place seats like 50, 60 people. It ain't real big, so they got two shows. There's a 4 o'clock show. Maybe you got kiddos or family and you don't want to be out all night in that July heat in Conway, Arkansas. So get out there, and then I think the price is supposed to go up on July 1st. But if you get there, and then they got a cap, like no matter if you got 16 people in your family or whatever, there's a certain price for families, you and your kiddos, so it don't get too expensive. But the 4 o'clock show has more room right now, but then there's still room left in the 7:30 show. That's the other one. But if you in the Conway area, Arkansas, maybe you in Missouri, then you can check that out in the show notes and get the tickets. So you gotta you want to get them before July the 1st. But I'm excited. In July 13th, I'm supposed to be in Hardy, Arkansas at the Hardy Junction Music Hall. That's going to be a hoot. And so anyway, when you in person at a live show, the way it go is that you supposed to kind of have merchandise to sell. That's what bands do. That's what comedians do. That's what people do. And so I don't care. Now you may or may not know that I don't keep inventory in my trailer or on my shirts. I wear the ones I wear. But Rock City Outfitters in Conway, Arkansas, they ship my shirts to everybody that's ordering them, right? Well, on the live show, I gotta get my shirts from my buddy Ryan at Rock City Outfitters, and then I carry them to the show. But the thing about it is, I ain't going to carry every single shirt that I got. I'm just getting a couple, and right now, I'll just tell you right now, I'm gonna have the No Pro Fishing shirt. I'm gonna have them available at the show, the live shows, and then I'm gonna have the Cannonball Champ, City Poo Cannonball Champ shirt. If you've seen that, I've been wearing that because it's Cannonball Month, National Cannonball Month. The way I self-proclaimed, but that's what I say it is. And so it's just that time of year where you got to get in that poo, and the best way to get in that water, the way I see it, is cannonballing. So I'm gonna have those two, and then I got a few of these, the squirrel in the headlock with the fully mature peacock, and the pig shirt. It's got the diagram of the pig on it. There's a white one and a gray one. I only have the white one for the live shows. And then, we'll have some other things there. And actually, this is hot off the press. I ain't told nobody yet, and I'm about to tell you, so you're going to be the very first to know that it looks like we're going to get a No Pro hat put together, and they'll be available at the show. I'll probably have some hats there. But they're working on, the patches and all the things that go into making a hat, to cover your head, keep the sun out your face in that hot July and June and August and September, depending on where you live and October, November, December heat. So anyhow, that's what's going on with me, and I know that's a lot of housekeeping, but it's on my mind. And a lot of people, like I said, have found me in the last week, and I want to tell you something. I'm reading comments. So on the iTunes, Lisa Jack, she just said, she heard me on Instagrams mentioning my podcast, so she went over there, and she said she got to thinking maybe if I listen to this podcast while I'm cooking, the time will go by faster. That was like her guess, and she says, and I was right. Love it. Thanks, Tavin. You're welcome. I'm glad that you were loving the podcast. I sure appreciate y'all listening and commenting, and I'm enjoying doing it. Now, 1919 Carl's on iTunes said, I listen to these stories when I run. Got a runner. That's good. Sometimes I have to stop in the trail because I'm doubled over with laughter. Well, I bet that's a sight to see. People might think you're choking on something, like maybe you're chewing some gum or had a little granola bar, and they're going to kind of try to do the Heimlich to get that out, to dislodge that, because they don't want to see another fellow runner choking, but you ain't. You say you're laughing. And it says, if I'm in a bad mood, it always puts me in a good mood. Thank you, Tavin. These stories have brought me so much joy. Well, you're welcome. And there's a lot to talk about on the podcast today, because softball season is in full swing, y'all guys, and I'm ready to show the world what I got. But there's some other stuff going on, and I'm about to get to that. But I got another comment I was just looking at. It's TFD81 says immersive. That's a big word. That's going to be about the biggest word I'm going to be able to say today. And hilarious stories about the simplest pleasures in life events. Been a fan for 10 plus years. Since seeing butter and 2 zucchinis. This man needs a TV show. Well, that's very kind of you. Yeah, I did a video in 2007 on the YouTubes called Butter, and that thing made its rounds. And I love butter, and I talked about it. And then there was a zucchini bread recipe I talked about on the YouTubes many a year ago too. And so that's how that go. But that's great, Tavin. That's great. All that's great. But what we gonna do today? And I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about the busy week we already had. So, here we go. If you heard last week's episode, then you know all about our first softball game of the new season. If you ain't had a chance to listen to that, I'd say go back and do that. Then come on back and join us. We'll be right here. I also say that because I'm about to tell you about how last week's game ended right now, which ain't a surprise if you already know, but it is a surprise if you ain't listened to last week's podcast. Okay, I'm going to do it, so don't say I didn't warn you. As you know, if you listened to last week's episode, Bud's Burger Shed, Team Burger Shed, lost our first game of the season, 8 runs on the other team, 2 runs to us. That means they scored more, which the way the rules are set up in softball, then they win. So it wasn't really close. New roster, kind of new. Like, we got a couple new players in a new season, so we just getting things worked out. It's just part of it. Ain't nobody panicked. Ain't nobody mad. Ain't nobody concerned. We ain't shuffling our lineup. What did I know of? I ain't really in charge of that. Russell Tucker usually make a lineup, but I'll go wherever they put me. You know how it is, though, when something's new or you starting something again after taking a break. It take a minute, to get back into swing of things. Not everything is like riding a bike, as they say. Well, I'll tell you, this week's game, which would be week 2 of this new season, was not an easy one for me, Tavin Dillard, personally. I had other stuff going on in my mind. You ever heard of winning the battle between your ears? Well, that's like getting a hold of your thought, like what you're thinking about. But I had something happen before the game, a few days before the game, that I still trying to, mull over, process in my head. Now, I don't know the official title of this event in my town. I don't know why it confused me so much. But basically, there's like a summer blast-off, cookout, and dance. I think that's what they even calling it. It's a long name, but it's basically like we're going to do a barbecue. There's going to be a dance that night, but at the barbecue, they got all these booths set up for like vendors to look at. So anyways, then Cricket and I got into what I guess would be our first big argument. That's the gal I started dating. She worked at the nursing home living the next county over, so I don't see her that much, but we dating. And I don't know if you ever disagreed with somebody, but that happened to me, and it happened at the dance. So more on that in a minute. Also, before the dance was that town cookout. Now, city puts it on. Different organizations show up with their booths to hand out information. Lots of churches there because it's vacation, Bible school season. There's folks that'll be dropping kids off at churches all summer long. So that cookout happens in the afternoon and the dance is in the evening. You see how that go? Okay, well, Lonnie Brunwell from Brunwell's Tires, his daddy owns the company. Well, anyway, Lonnie, he was the DJ at the dance. He got a Ram 1500, quite the sound system in it, too. You might remember that he'll put on quite the show at the softball field when he arrives. He got a speaker rigged to the outside of that truck, and he'll make announcements as he drives up. And he's all about the show, like he tried to intimidate the other team, that kind of thing, and he'll just say it on the speaker, and all the heads turn because he's so loud on that thing. Well, first things first, Cricket was working at the nursing home, wasn't supposed to, but picked up a day shift, and she's going to miss the cookout. But she'd be there for the dance. And the dance ain't super fancy or formal, so she wasn't getting no ball gown, nothing like that, and I wasn't in no tuxedo. I can tell you that right now. In fact, I went to the cookout straight from work, from mowing lawns and doing all that all day. I was in town cutting the grass and just parked my mower behind the barbecue tent where Russell Tucker was manning the main BBQ. He was the main guy kind of taking care of all that meat that was on the grill. He was cooking tri-tip, barbecue chicken. They also had hot dogs, hamburgers. Then, of course, all the sides. Rance Farnhart's mom, that's Sybil. She was heading up that table. I mean, it's kind of like a church potluck championship because of the food lines you got to organize. But it ain't like a potluck because you ain't got to bring no food because the city provides it. You see how that go? But Sybil, she had all kinds of side on that table. Tater salad, green beans, them cheesy scallop taters, baked beans. Plenty to eat. Now, I did have a video last week on the Instagrams and the TikToks and the social media webs about how I could go all summer and not eat a bean. I just soon pass on. I mean, if the baked beans are there, I'll put them on my plate, but I like staying cool. And I did say, and I will stand by this, and I know it makes some folk mad, but if it comes between baked beans or a cold noodle salad, I'm going with the baked beans. I do not prefer the cold noodle salads. But I guess the biggest exception to that is a 3-bean salad, but it's cold, but it's beans, cold beans. I do that. But cold noodles, that's a pass for me. All kind of cold drinks though, sweet tea, lemonade, soda pop for days. And this ain't like the town picnic where there's a stage and events where Bud was the MC and all these things like these little showcases, talent show going on. That ain't what's happening at this thing. It's just you sit, you eat, you talk to folks, you make your way around to them booths and tables that folks have set up if you want information on their business or their vacation Bible school this summer. And so that's how that went. Like you get little flyers or pens or Frisbees or that kind of thing. So I sat at a table with Myron Curtis. We both got in line at the same time, and then we was messing with Russell Tucker. Hey, can't you cook a little faster? You know, stuff like that. First thing Myron said was, are you going to go to the dance Tavin, tonight? And I said, well, I sure am. What about you and Mary Beth? Because he's dating Russell's little sister, Mary Beth Tucker. And he told me they was going to go, and she wanted them to be in matching windbreaker uniforms. I mean, maybe uniforms ain't the right word. I guess they outfits. And I laughed when he said that because I just assumed he was supposed to be funny. And then he didn't laugh back at me like he's serious. So I said, y'all really matching, Myron? And he looked at me and he said, head to toe. Like that away. He looked at me and said, head to toe. I'm like mid-bite. I just kind of stare at Myron and I say, are you kidding me? Now, because at this point, I'm really trying to figure this out. I'm like, surely you and your gal ain't wearing matching windbreaker outfits head to toe to the little dance tonight. Well, Myron was shoveling down that tater salad, and he said, well, hers is peach and light blue, and mine is blue and light peach. So I guess he's trying to say we ain't completely matching, which it's like, nice try, Myron. This sounds gross to me. And then I just had to know because he said head to toe. I said, shoes? He goes, we both got white tennis shoes, Tavin. I said, what in the world is happening, Myron? He said, we're in love, Tavin. We're in love with each other. I said, yeah, but that don't mean you dress like twins to the spring dance. Or summer dance, or summer blast-off cook-off. Like I said, I don't know what they called that thing, but it's just after the big old barbecue that night. And he goes, it means that this year to me, Tavin. It means that to me. And Myron finished off that tater salad, started in on his green beans. I guess Myron's one of them folks that eats all of one food before he goes on to the next one. I wouldn't have pegged him for that. But that's how he was doing it at the cookout. Just finish one, and then you head to another. Right on the tables at the cookout was none other than Tavin's honey from bees. That's my honey from Bee House. Now, I didn't make it, but it's my face on it. They make it over at the Bee House honey. It's good stuff. It's a delightful, sweet treat. And if you missed the cookout, check the show notes. There's going to be the first link you see today for this episode. You'll see a link to get you some. That's Tavin's honey from where? Oh, that's right. It's Tavin's honey from bees. It was a nice day at this cookout. And good to catch up with Myron. Truth be told, I ain't seen him too much except, just right at the softball fields. This game on, then you ain't always doing small talk in the middle of a game. I asked him why he didn't wear his dance outfit already to the cookout if he was going to go there, in the evening anyway. He goes, "Oh no, Tavin, look at me. I need an apron or a bib." He pointed to his shirt. It had barbecue sauce down the front and what looked like macaroni and cheese, but I didn't see no macaroni and cheese at the cookout, and I just really didn't want to get into all that with Myron, so I didn't even ask him. I wasn't quite sure what I was wearing, that night. I didn't know yet because I'd come straight from the cookout, from work to the cookout. But I do have enough sense that I needed to get my mower back to the trailer park and get showered up. I can't show up at the spring or summer cook-off, blast-off dance smelling like a work day. So a little Irish Spring and Perk Plus later, I was ready to go. Cricket said she'd pick me up after her shift ended because she got a car. I'm still saving for a truck, $614 now. Getting closer, but nothing yet. I ain't got no car. I was in one of my better caps that I wore to the dance. Clean clothes. She picked me up wearing a sundress and sandals. She said she can dance better in them sandals. I said, well, that worked for me. It's quite a turnout at the old dance. It's inside the community center there next to City Hall. You know where that's at? But they also have a patio there for folks to sit outside and cool off. And, in the evening, it's been kind of nice a little bit lately when the rain ain't happening. And there wasn't no rain, this last weekend. Well, we arrived just a little after it started. And Imogene Watkins over there at the DJ booth telling Lonnie Brunwell to turn it down a little bit. She can't talk to her friends. And when he does play more music, she told him to play more hymns. From like a hymn book, like the hymnal in your church. That was Imogene Watkins' request to Lonnie Brunwell. You can imagine that he's in a no-win situation because it ain't a junior high dance or a high school dance or a senior citizen dance. It's an everybody, all-town, summer blast-off dance. So at any given point in the evening, depending on what song he's playing, somebody going to be mad at him. Except when he played Sweet Caroline. That seemed to get everybody going. So, I don't know about y'all, but slow dancing's easy for me. Now, I don't like to go around and brag and tell everybody, how good I am at this or that, but I'm telling you, it's just kind of swaying back and forth. I ain't got to win no contest, but it's a simple assignment for the most part. Don't pick your feet up off the ground, because when you're giving yourself the option of like stepping on your dance partner's foot. I didn't want to step on Cricket like that away, so I didn't want to get on her foot. Then a fast song comes on, and I can really cut a rug. Now, it ain't bragging if it's true. Well, it don't take me long to get tired because I give 110% on that dance floor. So I get some sweet tea, and I just take a seat over there. I mean, I worked it up good, y'all. I can do a little break dancing. Anyhow, Cricket, she sit down next to me, but she's ready to keep going. I tell her, I'm going to need a minute. Well, JT Whitlow, who's now dating Cody Mantell's cousin Whitney, she bring the air horn to the softball game. He stop over and says, "Hey, Cricket, you want to dance?" Now, I don't think a whole lot of that at the time because I know that JT's dating Whitney, and I'm going steady with Cricket, and so I didn't think much of it. And this is where you see where this is going, y'all guys. He grabs her hand to like pull her to her feet, and she looks at me like I didn't know what like. I just seen her look at me at the time. Now I know what the look mean, and I just say, I ain't ready to head back out there yet. Y'all have fun, kind of thing. I just thought there was going to be some friends out there dancing. So I'm wiping my head from all the sweat, sipping that sweet tea. Cricket gives me a look. Don't know what that look mean yet. Now I do. Now I can take that snapshot of that look. I can see it in my mind's eye right now. And I put that under the right category now. So the next time I see that look, I say, okay, now that's what that means. But it don't register to me at the time what that look mean. And instead of trying to figure out what it mean, I just figured it don't mean nothing. And off they go. So I see JT out there with Cricket dancing and Whitney's dancing with Cody Briggs. Folks is having a good time. Well, little did I know that trouble was a brewing. Little did I know. I finished off that sweet tea and I'm good to go now. I'm ready to get back on the dance floor with my gal. That song ends. I stand up. Cricket comes back over. She sit down. I said, "You want to dance or you taking a break?" Her arms are crossways like she ain't going to move. I guess she's tired now, but then she stands up and walks right out the front door of the dance hall. Now, I ain't no Alan Einstein, but I figured at this point I shouldn't just stay here inside when she's out there outside. And you know what? I was right about that. I was right about that. I followed her out and I called to her because she's moving at a pretty good clip. And I started to think she wasn't going to stop. I said, "Cricket, hey, Cricket." And she turned to me and she looks at me and I said, "Well, where are you going?" I walked toward her and she walked toward me and she does not seem happy. Like I can read that. I can read that look on her. I'm like, that's not a happy look at all. So all I know to do is ask that question. I said, "What's wrong?" And she asked me, she goes, "Why didn't you say something to JT?" Now my mind's going back and I was like, what was I going to say something about? I mean, the thing JT want to talk about the most is building a zip line in the trailer park, which has worked a couple times, but not for long. It breaks so quick. So I'm thinking, was I supposed to give him some help with the zip line, or ask him a question about something I need to help him make it? Like, I'm trying to think what I have to say about JT that Cricket know about, like that. So I couldn't find it in the Rolodex in my head. I could not stop on that. So I just said, what about? What am I supposed to talk to JT about? And she said, well, he grabbed my hand and he asked me to dance. Cricket just told me like that way. And I said, well, you didn't want to go dance? She goes, did you want him to dance with me? Now she put on. She said, is that what you wanted? What just happened? Like, you okay with that? That's kind of what she's saying. And I said, no. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's dating Whitney, so I ain't worried about him. And I trust you. That's my logic. I actually said what was going on in my head out loud, which wasn't the best call, but that's how that went. And then Cricket said, that's right, he's dating Whitney. And who are you dating? And I said, well, I'm dating you, Cricket. And now, as the words come out of my mouth, I'm starting to piece it together. Like, slowly, there's a picture in my head that's coming together. It's like, oh, I see what's going on here. And Cricket's like, well, it didn't seem like you was acting like it, if you ain't, you just sending me out on a dance floor like that away. And I scratched my head as, it's all kind of seemed to come together. And I learned, I may be slow, but I do learn. So I grabbed Cricket's hand. I asked her if she wanted to go back inside. I was like, let's go back inside and finish this dance. She said she didn't really feel up for it, and she needed some time, is the word she used. Well, it turns out she needed the rest of the dance to think, and then she went home. It was not what I had anticipated. So fast forward to our softball game this week. Now, I had talked to Cricket once since the dance. This wasn't the first time I was about to see her, but it was kind of weird. Like when you make eye contact with the guy running the whirly gig at the county fair, and you think it might have made it worse because it seemed like the ride went on for 7 minutes too long. Anyway, I ain't sure when I was going to see her, but I was keeping my eye out in case she did show up at that game, because it still ain't right. It ain't feeling like the conversations is right. Well, I'm a little out of it because of the Cricket thing, but I'm trying to get set on the game. I'm like Myron Curtis, head in the clouds, kind of out of it. It's bad. I striked out the first 3 times I batted, and I only got to bat 4 times. Last time I got hit by a pitch, I didn't even steal a base. I mean, that's how it was this week. Now, I'm telling you, softball's a team sport. Now, you probably know about that by now. And so, thankfully, I got a team that did show up. Well, during the last inning, Cricket shows up to the field. So, I'm feeling good. But if I was distracted before because I did not see her, now I'm even more distracted because I can see her at the field. So, pop fly comes my way, can of corn, routine play. I dropped it. Sure did. Just dropped it, and that had already happened 2 other times. It was on me, y'all. Like, this is the stuff I know how to do right. And I ain't doing it. And a run scored on that play. It happened to be their 6th run of the night. We had 5. Myron Curtis kind of picked us up, though. That's what teammates do. Like I was saying, he laced a sharp single in our half of the inning, but he decided to leg out 2. I'll say that again. Myron Curtis decided to leg out 2 bases. Like, I don't know what got into him. Well, they wasn't ready for that. They threw it into first base because they thought surely Myron's going to, just kind of motor into first base and throttle back right there, but he did not. Then Mort Dwight smack a single off the fence. If it don't clear the fence, it's a single. That's all he's going to do. By the end of the game, it was 6-6, and we tied. Better than last week. And just think, if I was in a better headspace, who knows what would have happened. No free snow cones for Team Burger Shed, and we now 0, that's for the wins, we ain't done that yet. 1, that's for the losses, we did that one time. And 1, that's for the ties, we did that one time. So we 0-1-1 for this young season. Well, Cricket stayed sitting in the bleachers. She's talking to Cheryl Grubbs, who apparently took her dog Jalapeno to the dog groomer, judging by the bow in its hair and a handkerchief around its neck. And I don't know what to do, at this point. I wanted to talk to her, but I just wasn't sure how it all go down kind of thing. For better or worse, Jalapeno took off, and Cheryl Grubbs, she had to hoof after it. Find that doggy, it'll go wherever. Jalapeno's a mess. So there's Cricket by herself in the bleachers, and she looked at me, and she said, where's your snow cone? And I said, oh, we tied. And she said, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I said, we'll get him next week. New start, all that, kind of thing. We're going to be okay. And then I don't know what I'm thinking, but it's like I'm closing a business deal or something. I extend my hand like, how do you do? Bink, bink, kind of thing. And I just wait. And Cricket looks at my hand, and then she reaches out and she shakes it. So there I am in kind of a semi-dirty, not real dirty, Burger Shed uniform because I didn't play very well that night. And there's Cricket sitting in the bleachers, and we shaking hands, like we at a ribbon cutting or something. And I said, hey, sorry about that dance. That ain't going to happen again. And then she smiled at me. And about that time, Lonnie Brunwell pulled up in that Ram 1500 blasting some Red Hot Chili Peppers. The band, not, shooting actual chili peppers out of a tater gun or nothing like that. We was both ready to leave at that point, me and Cricket. But the good news is we was ready to leave together. Town cookout? Check. Summer blast-off dance? Check. Softball game? Check. Navigating the early days of a relationship? Check. Did an after softball meal at the burger shed seem to be the right spot to pick up where we left off? Check. While we was walking and talking at the burger shed, Cricket told me her granddaddy, he's ready to take me fishing. Oh boy. There's only one right response to that invite. Don't I know it? So I'm going to be heading out on the waters with him soon. And y'all are going to get an update when that happens. I'll be sure to tell you all about it. If you don't know, we had a town fishing tournament 2-3 weeks back now. And I ended up, I don't know how you even put this, y'all guys. I'd say go listen to the podcast called The Fishing Tournament, that episode, because I got in a boat with Cricket's granddaddy, and we weren't a team, but we was a team. And anywho, we about to try to go fishing together again. And I said yes. That's all I keep thinking. I was like, there's only one answer to that. How will it go? Time gonna tell. But right now, I'm gonna have to head out here pretty soon because I got a busy week ahead of me. You got things to do. I will say before I go, you gotta check them show notes because there is Tavin's Honey from Bees. There's the link to the shows in July. Check out them Saturday, July 9th, Conway tickets for the smaller venue there. Get one while you can. And then email me. You got my email if you want to shoot me an email. But also, 501-322-6249. Folks been texting me all week. I've been trying to get back to everybody that's shooting me text. You know, usually the first text is them trying to figure out if it's me or if it's a robot or like, I don't know, some sort of assistant. But I can assure you, I don't know how to have a robot do that. And I do not have an assistant. The closest thing would be Meemaw, and she has no interest in helping me. Basically, I'm assisting her. That's the only time I get to drive her 91 Buick Regal is to drop her off at Early Bird Gets the Perm, or if she got to go meet one of her friends, Tabby Jean Tipton or Claudia up there at McDonald's. Meemaw loves a Big Mac. The two of her favorite foods are Big Macs and Snicker bars, and that's the way to Meemaw's heart. And that's how that goes. So you can, anyways, check in the show notes if you want to shoot me a text or shoot me an email. You can do that. But right now, like I said, I'm going to need to go. But hey, if you ain't had barbecue and macaroni stains on your shirt this week at a barbecue where they ain't even serving macaroni, you having a pretty good week. Take a minute to check out them show notes. Pick up some Tavin's Honey from Bees. That honey comes from bees. I know. It's impressive. Well, y'all do well today. I sure appreciate you joining me here on the Tavin Dillard podcast. We'll see you later.